pillars of the family. A family stands when women are very strong.
Tunawapenda, siku ni yao wenyewe na watie tu bidii. Unajua most of them wanakuanga caring.
I'd love to appreciate what women do in everyday basis.
What we can pray is that women should understand the difficult time that you are having at the moment so that they can bring peace to their homes.
To all the women, I would just like to say, let's continue building, let's continue growing. And I think that we are the most important light that should shine to this world.
I'd like to say to my fellow women that women are strong, we are beautiful, we are powerful beings, especially because if it were not for us, there wouldn't be life.
For ladies, we are very strong, we are very blessed to be ladies, and we can do a lot.
We should never lose hope, to say lose hope in anything.
Women are leading change in the judiciary, in politics, and in corporate boardrooms, and at the grassroots. But even as women rise, the question remains, are rights, justice, and real action rising with them? From societal stereotypes and cultural expectations to political financing and safety in leadership, the barriers are still real. As the world celebrates International Women's Day, how can women's leadership truly advance justice, equity, and fairness for all women and girls? Joining me on set today on Crosstalk is a gender expert, women's rights advocate, and founder of Kitui Women in Development, Madam Faith Kiema. Welcome and happy International Women's Day.
Thank you and happy International Women's Day to you too.
Asante. Also with us in studio is a dedicated civic educator and male champion from Kitui County, Mr. Jacob Maingi. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Asante. Should I also say Happy International Women's Day?
Yeah, Happy International Women's Day.
Asante sana.
2026.
2026.
Thank you.
Thank you. We are not alone in studio. We are joined by an amazing studio audience representing voices from across different sectors of our society, and we'll be getting to hear their voice and contribution to our discussion today on Crosstalk. Happy International Women's Day. Amazing. We have a great show lined up for you, and you can be part of this conversation as we celebrate International Women's Day. Let me ask you this. What do you think are some of the societal perceptions or stereotypes that still block women from positions of leadership? You can answer and share your thoughts on WhatsApp. 0786316316 is the WhatsApp line. Engage with us and let's get into the conversation. Let me start with you, Madam Faith, because as we celebrate International Women's Day, there's an aspect of women leadership that we've seen rise. If you look at the composition of political seats now, for instance, we had 7 governors before, of course, impeachment of Mwangaza. Now there are 6 women governors. If you look at Senate, we have a good representation of women there as well. We have 47 women reps and members of parliament as well. If you look at that representation, would you say that it is a well-deserving representation that speaks on issues of women?
Well, let me begin by saying that leadership is not about gender. It's about results, it's about responsibility, you know. The two-thirds, not more than 2/3 gender role, up to now, 15 years down the line, is yet to see the light of the day. As a leadership in this country, there is majorly lack of political goodwill in trying to put women, you know, out there into leadership. Leadership that is anchored on law, leadership that has results, leadership that will change systems. However, we have the current representation in Parliament, in my own opinion, I'd say is about numbers. Really, it's about numbers. We have not seen real change in terms of policy, influencing policy, trying to change the systems. So in my opinion, I'd really urge if we have a greater number of women in leadership, not just because they are women, you know, it's not a matter of ticking the boxes, but women who are able to deliver, women who are able to make, you know, change in systems, women who are able to be seen as examples and mentor the other upcoming young women leaders. Yes.
Mr. Jacob, you look at the number of representation of women in parliament, for instance, and even just position of leadership. Judiciary is now led by a woman, and yet women still feel disadvantaged.
Thank you so much. In terms of representation, particularly in the elected positions, more so in the parliament and also in the Senate, though we have some laws and policies in place, we have not been able to realize the, let's talk of that 33 threshold representation, which in terms of fraction, it gives us the 2/3 adherence. Currently, it's around either 17 or 19%. So we have been able to make some achievements, but not fully as expected in the 2/3 gender role. And you realize that there is still some issues that we need to overcome at our background. Issues about that women are caregivers, you know, that women should explore more on unpaid care. Those are some of particular areas which are so much anchored on our traditions that we need to overcome, so that we may be able to propel the women leadership to the height that we expect.
Is it a question of willingness but not capable?
Perhaps to even add on that, and not to complain, because there's good progress, really, for women in leadership. There is good progress. However, a lot needs to be done in terms of, you see now the theme, the UN theme for this year, you know, it talks about justice, action, you know, really. So when you look at it, it's the main theme looks at what is on paper and what's really happening on the ground in terms of actions that are being taken to advance gender equality. You know, so when you look at those things, that is the gap that is really trying to bridge. So yes, there's progress, but a lot needs to be done.
All right. We'll come back to talk about the stereotype and the perceptions, and you've started to allude to some of them. But let me bring in the audience here just to find out on this issue of representation. Do you feel like we mistake it for transformation, where women are willing to be in positions of leadership, but they are not really capable of representing the voices of women?
Yes, we have made gains. We agree we have made gains, both institutional, policy-wise, and all that. But the challenge we have in this country is what we call the political goodwill. We have institutions which are under-budgeted for any transformation to take place. We have institutions that are not well equipped when it comes to financial muscle. And giving an example is what we have been seeing, like we have a gender ministry. It's only recently where we got the CS. The gender ministry was just there without a CS, without nothing. And if you look at the budget lines, you find that it's the most under-budgeted ministry we have. Again, we look at how our communities are taking it. At times you find that, yes, we are making progress, but the perception within the community is yet to change. You find that people are yet to believe strongly on women. Yes, we have seen women being elected. We have seen women in corporate state world and all that. We have seen women doing business like Ken Hather. We have seen women in education. but it's just a hate. We are yet to say we are equal, we have totally gained everything.
All right.
So it's a journey we need to think about. Thank you.
And we are thinking about it right now. Violet, you deal with public finance and engaging with women in terms of leadership and all this. Is it a question of willingness and capable, or capable but not willing to represent women? Because if you have 47 seats reserved for women, for instance, so we have 47 women representatives, why is it that the voice of women is still underrepresented?
First of all, I'd like to share that there's the issue called gender responsive budgeting, which ensures that when government ensures financial allocation, it's supposed to address the needs of both men and women. And we've seen policies and policies developed and acts passed that ensure that women's needs are addressed. For example, like you find that even last year, you find that like the marginalized in the society needs were addressed, especially the persons with disability, through the passage of the Persons with Disabilities Act last year. There's also the issue of caregivers, because majority of the caregivers in Kenya are women. So you find that there was also the passage of the Social Protection Act. And you find that in those particular laws, they are ensuring that the marginalized, there is a way that their voices are heard in legislative matters. The women legislators have made strides towards ensuring the voices of women are passed in policy. Even though they are few, but they are ensuring that even though they are few, their voices are heard.
So Faith, what is this more that still needs to be done?
Women need really to be in spaces where they're able to make decisions on that table. If they're not on that table, then somebody else will make a decision on their behalf. So first, it has to be claiming your space on that table. And if you don't act now, the future generation and the other generations to come, will look at you and say you are in a position to influence or make this decision, but you never, took advantage of that space. So first, claim your space, go out there. Be in search of knowledge, skills on how to even influence the decisions themselves. Because after all, it is your right, The Constitution gives you that space. It is your civic duty. And then also, I want to give an example of my county, that we have 40 wards. And in the 40 wards, we have one elected MCA. It becomes very difficult because she can only be in one committee, and committees are the spaces that are able to bring change, even advocate for policies and budgets, gender responsive budgets at the county level. So really, even women coming out there into leadership spaces comes a long way into advancing their cause in the gender space. Yes.
Jacob, what would you say is the place of civic education when we talk about women in leadership? And what are some of these spaces where, not just political spaces, but even non-political spaces where women leadership can rise?
First of all, we need to agree that we need to have modalities on how we can raise awareness through civic education. Awareness is on women in leadership. And we also need to bridge the gap, because you realize that we have particular women who have made it in this nation. And you realize that it's like if you're not careful, there is going to be a gap between those who have been there and those who will take after them. And you realize that we need to do more on mentorship to the young girls, those who are in colleges and universities. We do a serious mentorship in a way that we can tag those young women we tag them with those who have been in the leadership. And also we create an atmosphere for them to sacrifice, to walk through the journey, matters women leadership. And we also need to have the inspiration to all, especially young women and girls, that we create in them the willingness in them. And also we also build the courage and the boldness in them. Then we also go to step number 3 for them to take action. And the action they are going to take about leadership, you realize that they can begin with non-political spaces. Like for example, if they are church organizations, they can occupy those positions so that we can be able to mold them and also build that courage in them. And we can also do some trainings whereby we can try to train them matters public speaking, because this is a skill which needs to be developed into our young girls. So that this skill of public speaking, avoiding shyness, the boldness, and also facing the congregation, so that we may be able to instill this firmness or boldness within them. That one can do better.
Madam Faith, what are some of the barriers that are making it difficult for women to rise into positions of leadership?
We have mentorship gaps. We have women who have been in leadership and they gatekeep, on how you as an upcoming leader ought to navigate that space to reach where they have been able to reach at that point in their life.
I thought it's only men who gatekeep so that women don't get to that space.
For sure, we have women who gatekeep. And perhaps if they mentor, they do mentor some of the women, those that are elite, or maybe I'm mentoring you because I need you to, occupy a certain space. I have vested interest. So that really there's a mentorship a gap in that. I feel like also money. To get into elective politics, you have to have money, in your pocket. As women, for example, our land rights or, owning property, you want to have, to acquire a loan in the bank, you're asked for, a security. And perhaps the land that you have is written under your husband's name. You have no, right or claim over anything. So really, resource is really key, because you'll want to move around campaigning. You will want to have a team. You also want to engage media, you'll want to have IC materials. So there's really a lot that revolves around money that can, elevate you as a woman into that elective seat.
I think, Evelyn, you want to add something?
Elizabeth from Kajiado County. Kajiado County is a Maasai land. Pia kacha huwa huko inatugandamisha kwa sababu Wamasai wanaamini mwanamke hana haki ya kuongoza, na ndiposa mnakuta katika uongozi wa Kajiado wanawake wako nyuma. Hatuna kiti yoyote wameweza kupata apart from hii ya women rep. The 14 nominated MCAs wale tuko nao hawana sikus, hawako elected. Tukiangalia mila na desturi ya Wamasai, unakuta mwanamke hana haki kama vile Faith amesema, hata shamba, hata ng'ombe. Kazi yake ni kufuga. Akishamaliza hiyo ng'ombe mzee ndiye anaenda anauza. Again unakuta mashamba ni group lands, lakini anauza venye anataka. So unakuta wamama wanagamba hawana haki. Na we have done a lot of civic education, and we are hoping this time at least utapata elected women kwa positions, wamama wakijitolea na wajiamini na wajue kwanza wataweza. Thank you.
Okay. Let me hear from Juliet. These cultural perceptions and stereotyping comments that sometimes we make, they are not evidence-based. So people just say women are emotional, so they cannot be trusted with positions of power. There are family roles that will conflict with them being in positions of power. All these perceptions, how do we deal with them?
I like looking at the household. Yes, you have male-led households, but you find that it is the woman most of the time who takes care of the household. So I look at the country like a house. So there's need to budget for food, there's need for clothes, there's need for, you know. So how does it work in the house? So how do we want it to work at the national level, at the county level? So when we say these women cannot lead, when you ask a woman, go and lead where you came from because you're married here, or where is your husband, it really does not make any sense. I walk in the city of Nairobi, I walk across the country, and I look at the country and I say, like Nairobi is a mess. Our roads are terrible. We do not have, our pedestrian walks are full of motorbikes and people park just there. So the person who is walking cannot walk. So even how we design, men and women were created to complement each other. So when we say that this is only a male space, we miss all these other points. We miss the small nitty-gritty things that make society work. So when people say we cannot have women leaders because they're emotional, yes, let us be emotional. Let me come here and scream that I want this road so that I do not have to jump this high ditch. If I have to scream saying it, but you will hear it, let us do that.
Whitney is a women's rights defender.
For me, I will say women are not too emotional to lead. In fact, they are emotional intelligent and they are resilient. Leadership is about competence, vision to lead, and courage. It's not about gender. And when we are given equal representation, especially, let me echo the parliament, equal representation strengthens democracy. It doesn't weaken democracy. We should look from that angle.
Okay. Jacob, let me just ask, how do we deal with these stereotypes and perceptions to allow women to lead from a male point of view?
The answer is very simple. These household duties, they create a mentality that to the young girls that their space is in the household duties. So for the men and boys, we need to appreciate the work that has been done and which is being done by girls and women. We need to appreciate that one. Then we go to step number 2. After appreciating this work, we need to give it an approach of how can we reduce these household duties so that we may be able to free our women to go and exercise their potential in other ventures, especially in leadership. Then after reducing, we also need to give it an approach of we redistribute these household duties which are being done by our women and girls from morning to the evening. We redistribute them to the boys and to the men, to the father and also to the sons, so that the women that we have within our reach may be able to have that now the free space, think of outside the household duties, think that they can make other achievements in the leadership. And some of these household duties that we normally entangle women with, they are in the mindset. That you realize that a woman cannot wake up, prepare and go to work having not done anything within his or her compound or within his or her home or her house. So we also need to overcome the issue about the mindset that you as a woman or you as a girl just wake up, leave everything redistributed to those who are in the house or to those who are in the home and go and make other ventures. If we can give it that kind of an approach, I think we will have started a good journey towards mentoring and also preparing the women from the young age that they can also venture in leadership space.
All right.
Yeah.
Are there also some policy setbacks that we've seen that needs to be rectified as we try to bring women to positions of leadership?
I first like how Jacob has put it on that mental shift, and to add your attitude change. I like when it comes to unpaid care and domestic work, I like to say, touch on parenting skills, how we raise our children. Do we raise our children, our boys, to tell them that it's wrong to cry? Do we raise our boys to tell them your place is not the kitchen, you know? And trying to engender those roles as a parent. So it starts with us parenting, because the way you have the way you raise up your child, it has a lot in terms of influencing their life in their workspace and in their relations. So even some of these leaders in this country, the decisions they make them based on how they were raised. So parenting for me is really key. On unpaid care, we have the national care policy. So clearly the government is also putting extra effort, you know, in seeing that care work is valued. We also have the women economic empowerment policy, you know. So really the government also is appreciating and really acknowledging that we have a gap, and there's need to for our women to be, you know, empowered to put systems in place. But like I said before, we have a lot that's good on paper. When it comes to really implementing, that's another story altogether. Yes.
Okay, let me get Naomi.
When I hear the talk about a woman, it takes me back to the family setup. How have you been brought as a woman in the family? So if the parents have been intentional to tell you that yes, you can do all things that you want to do, well, good, of course, as long as you believe in yourself. So if you get out of the house, if a child gets out of the house each and every day with that mindset, and they go to another set, for example, the school, and then they get to the school, they see, or they get to have the opportunity to be elected as leaders also in that setup, then it builds their morale as they grow up. And so as a budget champion, I equally ask this question each and every time that we are faced with the financial year, with the fiscal year. How intentional are we to embed this this leadership of women that have to work for women, from women to women? How are we embedding them in the curriculum? Because if you want to nurture a good leader, you can try by beginning it from as little as they are a kid, and you'll get the best of the best that you want from that person all the way in the institutions. Then we will have leaders that will put in the work matters implementation on all this good paperwork that you're saying.
Right.
Thank you.
Dr. Violet?
You find that what has been pulling us back from achieving or ensuring the voice of the woman is heard are social norms and also gender norms. So you find that growing up, you find that you've grown up in a community, and in that community, there's a way that they have said a woman, the role of a woman there, and also even and also they have also put this thing of also gender norms, like you as a woman. So you find that the narrative is a woman has to stay, her work is at home. So majorly even in the rural areas, you find that women are, they get married, and you find that the husbands prefer leaving the woman at home to manage her household while him is the provider. So what needs to happen is there has to be a change in the gender and social norms. And also patriarchy is also, the patriarchal system also plays a role. And a way of it that we can change is through now male allies like Mr. Jacob, just even sharing with fellow men that a woman can also lead. A woman can also manage land. A woman can also do this and that. And now these norms are the ones that are pulling us back. So what needs is like continuous civic education, continuous political engagement, political goodwill, and it is something that can be changed.
All right.
Thank you.
Evelyn?
We have also to do a lot as we bring this woman from the very beginning. We have the major problem, especially in our county, early pregnancy. This problem is very high in our county. And you see, once the girl is pregnant at an early age of, let's say, as early as 15 years, you can imagine that girl has gotten pregnant, and automatically the father will refuse to take her to school. So I urge that there should be some policy or something that will be done so that this girl can give birth and then go back to school, continue schooling until she can achieve her vision. I've learned that women are excluded in the high positions in the government.
Thank you. I'll come back to that. We get to Madam Wen, who wants to say something.
I listen to everybody talk about family issues affecting women in leadership and all that. My mind goes direct to the way climate change is affecting these families. And again, when we look at leadership and climate change, you find that some of the things we are not noticing is climate change effects and risks are taking us back. Just for example, if you look at what is brought about loss and damage in climate change, you find that most of the people who suffer, women, children, persons with disability and all that, when it comes to floods, when it comes to drought and other things. And you find that we cannot shy away from talking about the effects of climate change in leadership. You find that when we look at women, when it happens to the country having drought, they are left looking for food, looking for water, looking for firewood and all that to sustain the family. So you find this woman will focus for his children not dying, to provide food, to provide everything. Again, you look at the little ones, when we have drought, the school going children, you find there is a lot of droppings, and that affects the future women who will maybe want to join the leadership. Again, the aspect of water. Somebody said we have teenage pregnancies, and we know water search is one of the biggest contribution of teenage pregnancies, where girls go long distances to look for water. Maybe they get them border borders, they get people who assist them to get the water on giving out something, and that something is not good. It's not something that is honest. Maybe they are violated when they are looking for this water, and nobody appears to understand them. So for me, we need to focus. As much as we say we have social norms, we have other activities, again, we need to bring the aspect of climate change, which is bringing a lot of effects to the girl child, to the women leadership, as they look for being that woman they want to be in future. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing that aspect of climate change and how it affects leadership. Looks like there's quite a lot to be done. Jacob.
Well, first of all, we need to escalate the issue about women appreciating women leaders. Because in terms of numbers, if we are to go for elections, and then we go by in terms of numbers based on gender, you realize that in terms of voter turnout, women are more. And if at all we can have that, because before we go to digging deeper the root causes and also overcoming the challenges, which might take quite a long time, as you overcome using that way, we can also have the issue about picking up where it is currently. Like, for example, Faith, my colleague Faith has talked about one elected member of county assembly in Kitui out of the 40 wards. Those results never came because she was the only woman contesting. There were others who were contesting. But you realize that the issue about women also appreciating their fellow women leaders is something that needs to be discussed in an open forum and also in an open conversation. And you realize that besides, in terms of performance, you realize that a woman who is in a particular elected position can do a lot of grassroots outreach in terms of helping members of the community, the vulnerable, unlike we as men. So it's a conversation that needs to be talked about and also emphasized more, that beside the cultural norms and those traditions, we need to pick it from where it is. Let us appreciate the women leaders that we have. And since the women who are in that particular electoral area, you say she is one of our own, let us stand with her and we can change the numbers.
Okay.
Thank you.
Madam Faith, I thought with the passing of the 2010 Constitution that this would have given women a lot of power as well. What are some of the things that you still feel the 2010 Constitution is not addressing that needs to be addressed?
We have the best constitution in Africa, the best. Implementation is the main issue. I always say that the constitution is not our problem. The problem is obeying the constitution itself. That's where the problem is. How do we have the not more than 2/3 gender principle for 15 years? For heaven's sake. One regime after another. Those are 15 years. What is this that's really a problem with the leadership that we are afraid of? You know, those are the questions that I keep on asking myself. Is it a lack of political goodwill? Are we afraid of women's rights? Because women's rights are human rights. What really is the issue with us exercising our rights?
This political goodwill should come from which?
I would say the buck stops with the top leadership. At the national level, that will be the president. At the county level, that will be the governor, you know. Yeah, akisema tick. The executive and the assembly, we will do that. We will pass the necessary policies because in most counties, the governor and the majority party, the governor has influence because of the percentage or the number of majority party leadership in that county. So that's an avenue that the governor can always, you know, explore. It starts with the top leadership coming down. Yeah.
Do you have anyone from Machakos County? How is the leadership there? Because the governor is a woman, the senator is a woman.
From the governor, the speaker of the county assembly, the county commissioner, the senator, and we are Machakos girls. And the community perception is turning against us women because the communities have high expectations when it comes to women in leadership. They expect them to deliver, I think, more than men. I can say their performance is not that bad. They are doing something, and they are doing in accordance with the law and all that. But the challenge we have is, again, goes back to the community perception, whereby they look as women as mothers. They look at like the perception of women leading, being the top, from the community, it has not changed. They see women need to be guided to lead. And that is where the conflict of interest is. You find that even sometimes you listen to the community conversations, it's like, yes, we have the women, but now, so what? We need to look at women in leadership as we look at men. Do they deliver when it comes to policies? Do they deliver when it comes to development? Do they deliver when it comes to social public participation, as Jacob was doing? We have, like, in Machakos, you find the communities like they were having hope women can do something, and now they are like, hey, we made a mistake.
All right. Faith.
I usually call it or brand it as a narrative that women hate each other. I feel like it's a statement that men tend to use so that they keep us busy fighting when they take our seats. I don't buy into it. I really don't buy it. We love each other, honestly. I mean, as mothers, as sisters, you know, as neighbors, we look out for each other. And I'm really proud because counties and at even the national level on social media, you have seen platforms where, you know, women coming together, you know, for chamas, women celebrating each other. You know, I have seen that a lot, and it's happening like in the real world. So that narrative, we hate each other, we are not buying it. Imagine we are not.
Civic educator, have you experienced those kind of?
Okay, I have encountered such whereby you realize that the perception that if I'm a woman, I want my fellow lady will be at par, or she be at a lower level, I be on top. It's a kind of a mindset, and it's a narrative. It's a narrative. That's why my emphasis has been that women to embrace their fellow women leaders.
All right.
Yeah.
I see Faith is smiling. So.
I want to add something
Yes.
there. Because women, we are not enemies of ourselves. Wamama huwa wanapendana sana. I have a very good example from my county. There is this jamaa called Olorgali. Mmemwona kwa social media. Amekuwa akirepu wa mama na watoto. So 3 to 5 months ago tulikuwa na kongamano huko Magadi. Na in fact wamama walikuja wengi sana. Na kwa sababu wanaume walijua wamama watakuja kuresi hiyo issue, walikuja na wakakaa viti za mbele. What I did, because it was a forum for women, niliwaambia waketi nyuma na hawakutaka wamama waongee. Akienda kuongea mwanaume anaamka anaongea. Na mama moja aliposimama, tulikuwa na Evelyn, akasema nilisikia uchungu. Mtoto wangu alikuwa anarepiwa, baba yake alikuwa hapo karibu akichota maji, lakini aliposikia nduru ya wasichana alifikiri ni kelele za wanawake. So unakuta sometimes men wako na ignorance, hawapendi wa mama. What I did, niliambia wanaume watoke nje ili wamama wakuwe na freedom ya kuongea na waseme issues zao. Hawa mama unakuta hawajasoma, but they form very group of 100 women, wananudiana mabati na wanaweza contribute pesa ya kusomesha watoto kwa sababu hawana say. Na wakati sasa huyo mzee alikuja akakuta ni mtoto wake alirepiwa, ndiye aliweza kuchukua hatua. Huu ni mwaka wa pili huyo mtu hajashikwa. Tuko na government hajashikwa, iko kwa social media, imeenda mpaka kwa waziri wa gender. So wamama wanajiunga na wanajimobilize wao wenyewe, lakini unakuta wanaume wako na madharau. Thank you.
Jacob atajibu hiyo.
Atajibu.
But in terms of justice, because that's also one aspect that this year's focus is, rights, justice and action for all women and girls. Why is it that justice is very elusive in this country?
I feel poverty really is one major factor that influences access to justice. An example of a case, a gender-based violence case, the perpetrator being a powerful person in society. Here is a girl who has been raped. She comes from a very humble, less than average family. As a family, you have never seen 300,000. You don't even know how it looks like. And sometimes some families are even compromised by 100,000. Some, sadly, even get compromised by 3 goats, and some 20,000, 15,000. I feel poverty really is one way that, one factor that really influences justice. Corruption. Our systems are really, really corrupt. You want to get away with something, the more money you can part with, the chances that you'll get your way are very, very high. So I wish the judiciary, besides being just professional, have that conscience to do the right thing, After all, you swore, you took an oath to do, due diligence into the work that you have put all your passion, perhaps education into, Why would you want to do the wrong thing? That's why even when I was introducing myself, I said I'm a patriotic Kenyan. I mean, let's do the right thing from deep down our hearts, as Christians, as Muslims, as faith leaders, because God is watching. Yeah.
That's powerful. God is watching. Mbona mko na madharau?
You realize that some conversations are taken lightly because we are not directly affected. Because if in such a situation whereby a girl has been raped, you can talk about it because it's far from you. But when it comes to you, your own daughter, your own sister, your own mother, I strongly believe that the reactions will be totally different. And based on this year's theme, rights, justice, and action, the action bit of it, it's what we are lacking in terms of implementation, even the 2/3 gender role implementation, the action bit of it. Because if actions could have been taken to those who started these kind of behaviors, we could have created a lot of fear and also safety for us and also for our women. Because the issue about rape has been there. You realize that, and such people, they are just walking around. The government is there, the national government, the county government, and this person is just walking around, is just interacting with the other people freely. You realize that the day it will knock at your doorstep, you as an individual, I know and I strongly believe each one of us will take a different action. So you realize that since the government has not been able to take action on some issues and on some cases, and the government giving an oversight, just a blind eye on some of these issues affecting our girls and women, I strongly believe that a lot needs to be done to reinforce our institutions of justice. Thank you.
All right. I'm coming back to you to get your closing remarks, but I want to do that on this side.
We can get the results that we want to achieve, matters women in leadership, both in political spaces, non-political spaces, and even as low as it can go and as high as it can go, because family is the institution that is the first institution that was there in the Garden of Eden. So it is high. Other people call it low, but I call it the highest institution. So intersectionality is the shortcut to achieving what we want, and happy International Women's Day 2026.
Awesome.
I know it has been a journey for decades and decades to up to where we are. For me, I'm coming from an informal settlement here in Nairobi. I really understand the issues that women are going through, especially in informal settlements. I understand even Kajiado County, because I think the difference is only the setup, but the issues are still the same. For me, I congratulate women for their resilience. Let us not lose hope. We are on this journey, and let us continue to champion for our rights. Happy International Women's Day.
Awesome. John.
We should mobilize our efforts to gather ourselves and help the girl child growing up. We should mentor them. The gaps, they should fill the gap in the leadership positions, the political side, and all that. They should step up a little more so that to at par.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. So happy International Women's Day to all the women here and the other ones going there.
I've learned a lot. We have 11 orphans, and the other day tulikuwa tunagawa shamba, the community, because we are only 2 with 11 orphans, 2 girls. Wanasema, how can ladies gawa shamba? Is that annoying? Happy Women's Day.
We still have a lot to do, and let's continue to push to the end until we achieve our vision of two-third gender, and also having more women in leadership positions. Thank you.
To add on that, we as women, we need justice. Justice only. Thank you.
Having listened to the panelists and also the audience, I feel like a lot needs to be done, because if you look at the current system, it's two-way patriarchal, starting from the top seat downwards. So I feel like a lot needs to be done, like having intergenerational mentorship, having the right socialization, and also empowerment. Yeah, economic empowerment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and happy International Women's Day.
Thank you.
Wamama tuweze kujitokeza kwa leadership, tuweze kunyakua hizi viti, kwa sababu kama vile my brother hapa amesema, wamama pia wanaweza ongoza, na wamama tupendane. Tuache kutumia wakati wa mobilization, lakini ikifika wakati wa kugawa viti, wakati wa kuchagua wamama, tunakuwa hatushiriki. Happy Women's Day.
Let us as a society give women the space. Women can deliver, and women can do great things in this country. And about the gain, let us not water whatever gains we have made, the constitutional gains, the institutional gains, and even the societal gains. There were times when women could not stand in front of men and talk in some communities, but that is changing. There were times when women could not sit in corporate and guide, but today we are seeing fruits. So let's not water whatever we have gained in our constitution as a country. Let everybody put the right foot forward. So for me, women can do, women can lead. And again, as we near the political, the campaign era, let us not forget that we need women to lead. We don't need women to be nominated to lead. We need women to be elected because they can lead. Happy Women's Day to all women in this country. Let us keep safe as we look forward to the weather changes, so that we can make it happen for women come 2027. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sovereignty of the people, Constitution, Chapter 1, is ours. So when Kenyans say our leaders are not doing what we want them to do, it's because we have told them what they want. We want them to go there and eat that money. We are not doing citizen manifestos. So when we say our leaders are not doing what we expected them to do, and they are your representatives, what did you tell them to do? You did not tell them. So you wait for them to come and ask for kura, and then you let them go and wait to see what they will do. So we have a task to do. It doesn't matter. Let's leave personalities out, because you might elect me and then say, na Juliet alingia pale sasa ameanza maringo. But what is my task there? That I need to make sure everybody goes to school. I need to make sure my county has ABCD. So as long as everybody knows what it is that this leader is supposed to do, it won't matter who is there. So happy Women's International Day, and let's keep at it until we get there.
I want you to have the last words, but also reacting to some of their closing remarks as well.
My call to action is to all men and boys, women and girls, that the issue about women leadership, we take it as a shared responsibility, so that we may be able to raise the awareness on the importance of women leadership, and also inspire that willingness in the women to lead. Build the courage and also the boldness in them to move out and to declare. The issue about declaring that I am contesting for this particular position in public should be one of the action that we are looking forward to see women mentioning it and saying it in public. As we celebrate this year's International Women's Day with the theme of rights, justice, and action for all women and girls, the action bit of it, I'm seriously emphasizing on it. You can just go and inspire a particular lady to take an action, to declare. I've witnessed some of the women declaring that they want the position of county women representative. And just by declaring, you realize that people can fund you. Resources can come by just declaring. So the action bit of it on the side of women and girls, let us embrace it. And I know as time advances, we'll be able to realize the 2/3 gender representation. Thank you.
Thank you. Faith.
So as we mark this year's International Women's Day on the 8th of March, let us move away from celebrating more women every year. Let's look at unlocking resources, punishing violence. Let's look at fixing our systems. Then that will be the best celebration for the women of this country and this world. Women are not looking for sympathy. They're not looking for sympathy, and it's not a favor, really. It is their right, and it's anchored on law, and it really needs to be upheld and respected. When one woman speaks out, without fear, she gives courage to another woman. So let us be the other women's breakthrough. Yeah, so with that, happy International Women's Day. The guys here are looking smart and the ladies beautiful. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah, so we can allow them to now leave the studio and go and celebrate.
I do celebrate them as well.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for your participation on this conversation. Thank you as well. Mjipige makofi as a way of celebrating yourselves. Thank you. Thank you so much for watching this conversation as well. I think there's quite a lot to be done right from our homes before we even think of national podiums and political positions. And one thing that is coming out very clearly is this needs a multi-approach system, from faith-based organizations and institutions, from grassroots movements to national leaders. And if you're a woman and you have a position of influence, use it to champion rights, justice for fellow women and girls. Don't keep quiet. Until next time, bye-bye for now.